Hi everyone, welcome back. We're looking at the project management key concepts, especially for this round for project integration management. And in developing the project management plan, what we're doing is a lot of the times we're going to need to create baselines. So baselines is one of the key concepts that is really important when looking at the PMBOK guide or the project management body of knowledge. So what is a baseline? It's a point in time. So a point in time where data or information is locked in place, with any changes needing to go through a formal change or a configuration management process to be reviewed, approved, and accepted. There are multiple documents that require baselining in your project management plan, and most of those will relate to the key things in your project, such as your scope. So the scope that you've locked in that you are going to deliver, the time or the schedule. So you might have your Gantt chart or the locked in schedule, and you don't really want that to change because you're delivering something at the end and your customers are relying on that to be delivered. And of course you've got the cost. If someone is sponsoring this project or paying for this project, then of course they don't want that cost to change, at least not without the proper approval process. So what are these documents that we're talking about here that do need to be baselined fairly early on in your project or in the initiation of your project? First of all, we've got the scope baseline. So this is the approved version of a scope statement, a nice simple statement of what you are delivering to your customer. And of course, you've got the associated work breakdown structure, or WBS, and its associated WS dictionary. So that's basically broken down the scope, broken down into smaller parts, and then ultimately the activities that we'll need to deliver those parts. All of those parts of your scope, we really do want to lock in so that we know that we're going to deliver it on time, and we know if we're not going to deliver it on time as well. The schedule baseline, so that's the approved version of the schedule model. That could be your Gantt chart, or really just even dates and activities depending on how you outline that in your project management plan. And that's used as a basis for comparison to the actual results. So once it's locked in, then how are we actually tracking over time? Are we on track? Are we not going well? That's what we really want to know. How do we project this? And is it going according to our project management plan? And last, we've got the cost baseline. So this is the approved version of the time-phased project budget. We've got our activities, the things that need to be completed. We've got the cost associated with those activities. And then we've got those happening over dates and over time until ultimately they are complete and finished. And so all of that is a part of it, and all of the schedule and the scope. If any of that changes, then obviously that will have a big impact on the cost of the project as well. So all of these things are interrelated. So before a baseline is actually defined, all of these documents could be updated as many times as necessary, and you'll find that right at the beginning of your project during the project charter, and maybe just before you've locked in your project management plan. So no formal process is required at that time, but once that baseline is locked in, then they can only be changed through the Perform Integrated Change Control process, which you'll probably notice is around 4.6 in the PMBOK guide if you want to check that out. But any stakeholder can raise a change request. That's how this is done. So anyone related to your project, whether it's someone impacted by the project, whether it's the sponsor who's sponsoring the project, whether it's the people doing the work packages in the team of the project, they can raise a change request for that to be looked at, which will go through the associated Perform Integrated Change Control process. And that's outlined usually in your project management plan as the configuration management plan. So maybe that is raising a change request to the project manager, for example. Project manager checks it out with a few different stakeholders or gathers the required information, or maybe that's someone in the project management team. And then maybe that goes through to the sponsor or to the associated steering committee, for example, depending on how your project is outlined. And of course, all of this relates to the enterprise environmental factors, which you'll see come up a lot in the PMBOK guide. This is how the company operates, and every company is different. There will be similarities, yes, There might be templates, for example, but there might be, different politics or different organizations or different parts of the company that need to be approached, or maybe different parts of the company that don't talk to each other at all. You need to be aware of these enterprise environmental factors and how to get work done, and that will impact the configuration management plan, how to make changes to your project and your project baselines once they are locked in. And that is project baselines.